Hello, 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 and welcome to the Freq Show. I am Jaclyn Steele Thurmond. This is my husband, Sam Thurmond.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about the blessing behind the breakdown, which I'm sure so many of you are going to be able to relate to. So, Sam, why are we talking about this today?
Yeah, so, we always say everything happens for a reason, right? And it's a phrase that we hear often, but I think the real question is, do we believe it when we're in the thick of it?
Mm-hmm.
I think once we get some space, it's a little easier. But what we're going to talk about today is like in that moment of when those even little things happen that can send us spiraling in the wrong direction, how do we immediately correct course, shift our energy, and spin it and turn it around and use it as a positive?
Yeah. And I like the phrase, everything is happening for us, not to us.
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful statement.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we talk about topics that are going on in our own lives, right? That's really what when we meet and sit down and discuss what we're going to talk about on the show, we are always like, what's fresh for us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we experiencing right now? What are we going through?
What are we learning?
And what are we learning? Yeah. So we're learning through this as we discuss it here. We're giving ourselves advice. This is our own therapy session. But this one is very fresh because yesterday was one of those days.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday was one of those days. And the overall theme is gratitude isn't just for the good times. And what happened yesterday, it wasn't anything, extreme, but it was kind of a series of small, I won't even call them setbacks, but small challenges.
Triggering moments.
Perfect. Potentially triggering moments that kind of started first thing in the morning, and then it was just throughout the day, they kind of just built on top of each other. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, woke up to text messages from tenants. Have a tenant that's having issues with the HOA. I'm having to be kind of, the in-between, playing both sides of the fence. So that's always a hassle. I had a tenant reach out that needs to break their lease on a house that they've been renting for a little over a year. So now we're going to have to deal with that. Hopefully we won't have any vacancy. They're a great tenant, but at the same time, turnover is always a challenge, and we don't want to miss that revenue every month because that can hurt. We had our car, an engine light come on for the car, which last month we just took it into the shop for new tires and overhaul, a big expense last month. And then
what was that? Like, let's put some numbers to it too. Was it like $4,500 or something?
Yeah.
Little over a month ago?
Just last month. Yeah. And then a couple days ago over the weekend, we had a drivetrain issue. So now it's back in the shop. Going to be another expensive month for the vehicle.
It's another $2,000. So I always like for everybody to know numbers so that they can like either understand the gravity or be like, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well,
but,
it doesn't.
It's
relative.
Close to $7,000.
Yeah.
In our car it's a 2020. So it's not like it's a super old car and it doesn't have high mileage.
Yeah.
But the weather here in Arizona is just harsh.
Yeah.
That heat is harsh.
So more costs for car repairs
that we weren't expecting.
We had some property taxes that we found out hadn't been paid, so that was another bill on top.
I still don't understand how.
Yeah, well, we moved, had a change of address, so I don't think we got the notification for that one, but still have to pay them.
And that's another $4,500 or something like that.
Yep. And then again this morning, we have a flip that's supposed to close on the 11th, and it looks like that's pushing back another week.
This is news to me.
This is news, yep. I was going to hit you with it so you can apply what we're talking about here in real time.
Whatever.
But still gonna close, but just a delay with that one. So
just 1 week?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can kind of see that the last 24 hours, how things can just pile on. And you might say, well, that's just another day. And honestly, in real estate and in life, it kind of is just another day. So there,
Yeah.
on one hand, I think the experience that we've built over the last 10 years has equipped us to kind of handle these things and move forward. But at the end of the day yesterday, when you were making dinner and I was opening the mail and opened the property tax bill, it was kind of just like, man, another hit today,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the energy in the room between both of us was just kind of like, all right, how are we going to let this affect us? One, what are we going to do as far as taking action? But I think even more than that, it's kind of like, okay, what's going to be our mindset? Like we were processing it for a few minutes, trying to move through it, and everything else that had happened that day, because it felt bigger because of all the other little things that were
Well,
happening.
and I think it also felt bigger because last year at this time, June of 2024, we had just listed Villa Secreta and it was still on the market. And we got an offer, if you remember correctly, within the first 3 days of it being on market. We turned the offer down because we were like, it's a brand new property. It's got so much interest. Like, we're going to hold out for the price that we want. And then it sat for another 2 months. And the overhead on that was something like $11,000 a month. And so we were shaking in our boots because our amount of liquid cash during that time was dwindling so much every single month that by the time we did actually sell it, I think we had like $300 in our savings account or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like something we were getting by the skin of our teeth. And so I know for me, I won't speak for you, but yesterday, it was a potentially triggering experience for me because last year at this time, we were in a financial pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the verge of not losing everything because we have investments, but having some pretty major changes on the horizon potentially that would negatively affect us.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday, I thought about how we were being hit with, 7 more grand worth of expenses that were unexpected on top of the almost 5 grand we paid a month and a half ago for the vehicle. And then also we're having a baby very soon. And there are some things I want to do around the house and some things I want to get. And it was like, well, that just went out the window. But when I took a breath, and yes, the air was sucked out of the room for a minute. When I took a breath and took a step back, I was like, here's the blessing. We have the money to pay these things, and we're not going to be in trouble as a result financially.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is compared to what we went through last summer and the pressure that we were under last summer, this is nothing. And it also put into perspective how far we've come in the last year,
Mm-hmm.
not only financially, but mindset wise. Nobody wants to be hit with unexpected bills. Nobody. But in this moment, I felt a sense of gratitude that we have the money to do it and it's going to be okay. And maybe I won't be able to get a new sofa before the baby comes, but that's okay too. And a trust that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay and that there are many blessings coming our way in the future. And then my third thought was Louise Hay says, be grateful for your bills. Every time you get a bill, be so grateful for it because it means those institutions believe that you are capable of paying these expenses. They are trusting you to be able to pay these things. And I think that mindset shift of we have the opportunity to be grateful for everything. I don't want extra bills. I don't want my hard-earned money flying out the window, so to speak. But at the same time, the property taxes are just part of home ownership. And the car maintenance is part of owning a vehicle and being able to enjoy that vehicle and rely on that vehicle. And so underneath that potentially triggering moment, I found a lot of gratitude and a lot of peace in really recognizing how far we've come in the last 12 months.
Today's episode of The Freq Show is supported by Ancestral Supplements. With Ancestral Supplements, you can now add back the dense nutrition the human body craves to optimally support a vibrant life and experience improvements in energy, immunity, strength, gut and digestion, endurance, memory, vitality, sleep, and much, much more. One of the most dense sources of nutrition on the planet, their beef liver supplements aid the liver in optimizing the body's metabolic functions, helps to detoxify the body, and is integral to supporting a healthy immune system. If you don't know where to start with Ancestral Supplements, because they do have a large library of supplements, I would say start with the liver. I would also say they have a free consultation that you can take advantage of, and I would highly recommend that you do. I have emailed with them multiple times, and they have helped me tailor a supplement plan specific for my needs and health goals. Ancestral Supplements' ultra high quality liver formula is loaded with vitamins, minerals, proteins, and healthy fats that support collagen synthesis, think skin, hair, and connective tissues, immune health, and heart, brain, and liver health. Our early ancestors knew this, which is why their traditional diets included the frequent and nourishing consumption of this nutritional powerhouse. Just the liver supplement provides powerful energy, vibrant skin, fertility and fetal development, strong bones, brain power, robust immunity, strength and endurance, eye and vision health, methylation and detoxification. It's amazing, right? So amazing. Ancestral Supplements has generously offered our Freq community 10% off of your first purchase with code BECKON10. Again, that's code BECKON10, BECKON 10 at ancestralsupplements.com for 10% off your first purchase. I know you are going to love this supplement company as much as Sam and I do. I have my mom on the supplements. I occasionally open the capsules and sneak some of the nutrition into my son's food. It is just next level supplementation. All right. Thank you. Enjoy. And now back to the show.
I think you kind of explained the next couple points of how we would have how this would have played out in the past. And I think referencing, a year ago, and especially like 4 or 5 years ago, how a day like that would have affected us. Even one or two of those things, I think, would have, put me in this low vibe mood of, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, how are we? What's the Tiger King? I'm never gonna recover from this.
Yeah. Well, but, Sam, your old tendency was to shrink back and go, if the vehicle costs X amount of dollars to repair, we're going to sell that vehicle and we're never going to get another one. That was your old attitude.
Okay.
It was very much like cut and dry. This is devastating, and now we have to shift our whole trajectory because of it.
Yeah. Well,
a little dramatic.
Okay, but $7,000 of repairs in 2 months for a vehicle that's not that old, might be something you want to think about.
But 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was like, $2,000 or something, which is still a significant amount of money.
I know. But all I'm saying is it would have had this huge impact on me. It would have taken me days to recover. And I don't know that I ever would have, I don't know that I really would have gotten the lesson out of it in the moment that I think we are aware enough now to understand that there is a lesson in the moment. You don't have to wait years to look back and say, oh man, that was silly to react that way. Now we're at the point where it's like, okay, this happened. Let me stop and let me give thanks not only for all of the good things that are going on, but let me give thanks for these issues that are happening right now, because there is something for me to learn from this.
Mhm.
There is something better coming out of this. And also, if not most importantly, I want to give thanks to God in these moments, because it's easy when the flip sells, or
Then you
everything's,
make a huge profit. Yeah.
you're staying under your monthly budget or whatever it is. Those times are easy to give thanks, and we should give thanks in those moments. But especially in times of what is seemingly negative in the moment, if we give thanks in those moments, it's an immediate energy shift. It's an immediate show of faith,
Yeah.
and I think, the higher power, I think God wants to see that from us, because he's like,
Shows faith.
how are you going to respond in this? And can I trust you to bless you moving forward?
Yeah.
So there's so much to take from this. And
Well, I want to commend you too. We have talked about bounce back rates for a long time. And I have a tendency to get really angry about something. And then 5 minutes later, I'll be like, you know what? I really don't want to fight about this. Let's just let it go and start over. And you're like, it's hard for me to keep up with you. I feel like you.
Well, I feel like there has been a tendency for me to chase you emotionally. And
never a good idea.
Now you're upset about something. So now I either feel like I either need to get upset back at you and match your energy, or I need to evaluate what's going on, if there's anything I'm doing. Or if let's say we get mad at each other, like you get mad about something, and not that you're the only one that gets mad about things, but if you get mad about something, we have an argument, you'll move on from it, and I'll still be in that mode, like I'm still pissed off or whatever it is. And for a long time, a lot of years, it felt like I was just kind of chasing you, because you'd pop out and be like, okay, I'm good.
I go through the levels of grief or anger very quickly, because I go through it in my mind, and then I'll be like, do I really need to be upset about this? Is this worth fighting with him about, or ruining the day? And by the end of those questions that I filter through pretty quickly, I'm usually like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. I think,
but I can understand it's hard to
get sidetracked and dig deeper into that and what that actually is, or whatever. But
going back to the
bounce back rate. Yeah. I feel like, especially with this stuff, both of us, you included, there are a number of things there, like we talked about a minute ago, being able to learn in the moment versus having to wait a long period of time to look back and say, oh man, that was silly for me to react like that. I think now, having experienced these days like countless times over the years, I think you do build up a resilience to it, certainly. And even though the numbers attached to those days
generally grow up.
They grow with you. But I think we've gone through so many iterations of this stuff happens, and then you come out the other end of it and you're fine. So there's no reason not to shift your energy back to a positive frequency in that moment, because I know it's going to be fine. So let me stop right now, give thanks, be grateful, and not ruin the rest of the night that I have with my beautiful family.
But I feel like yesterday, your bounce back rate was faster than I've ever seen it, because you barely got upset at all. And normally in the past, I feel like that would have hovered for a few days.
Yeah.
And yesterday it was 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of trying to figure out what had just happened, and doing some computer work. And then you closed your computer and you were like, you know what? I have so much to be grateful for. I got this. We got this. We're going to figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that changed the whole mood for me too, because I often play off your mood and I'll be like, should I be worried?
Yeah.
Tell me if I need to be worried right now.
And I think I wanted to I wanted to say, like, you don't need to worry about it, yada, yada, in the moment, but I didn't want to come off like I was pretending.
Yeah.
Or just saying that just to say it. So I wanted
I would know.
I know you would. So I wanted you to have your time to process it, your time to kind of come to your own conclusion, but then say, look, we got this, it's going to be fine. It's going to be better than fine. Let's just get back to it. High five.
High five.
So, where do we go from here? I think the thread, you've been on me about keeping a thread in our conversations, is just that, is like these little moments, big or small, are our opportunity to, that's where our control comes in. A lot of this stuff, I can't control an HOA. I can't control what happens with our car. I can't control if a tenant has a life change and they have to move.
Yeah.
The only thing I can control is my reaction and how fast I'm able to bounce back and then move forward and be productive.
And take action on what needs to be done and not bury. Yeah, we're not going to bury our heads in the sand.
And I think you're right that, in the past, it would have caused me to buckle down and say, I got to tighten the reins on everything to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. Even though it's out of my control, in my mind, I want to control it. But now,
it's a losing battle.
And what would cause me to miss out on potential opportunity because I'm so focused on like battening down the hatches. But now it's like, okay, that happened. But what's the big opportunity on the other side of this that's going to make this stuff seem minuscule?
Yeah. And I think, again, putting into perspective how far we've come and where we were last summer versus where we are now, it's a pretty stark difference.
Yeah.
Financially, we're in a totally different place. We have a lot more stability. Last June, I had a miscarriage. Now I'm 8 months pregnant. It's pretty beautiful to think back and recognize how we have changed and grown and how much God has blessed us.
Yeah.
Last summer was like being in, like I said, a financial pressure cooker. And I feel like that's not even dramatic enough.
And I think sorry, go ahead.
And now the juxtaposition of that versus where we are now. And yeah, we got hit with some unexpected stuff yesterday, but our mindset and how far we have come over the last year because of those struggles, not in spite of them, because of those struggles, is pretty incredible. And I think it's important for people to recognize. Actually, I'm writing about this in my book. I just finished a chapter on it, but I hearken back to a scene in Wonder Woman. You're going to love this because it's one of my favorite movies with Gal Gadot. The first Wonder Woman, the second one's terrible. But the first Wonder Woman and Antiope, Diana.
I don't know how you remember?
Well, because I wrote it yesterday. I wrote it yesterday. I wouldn't have remembered it. But Antiope is secretly training Diana when she's a child because she wants her to become a warrior. And Diana's mother, Hippolyta, whatever it is, doesn't want Diana to be trained because she thinks that if she becomes powerful, Ares is going to come back and take her away, right? Well, during this training moment, Hippolyta comes in on horseback and realizes that her sister is training her daughter unbeknownst to her. And she sends her daughter away, but then she has a conversation with her sister. And Antiope says, the only way to protect her is to train her. And when Hippolyta recognizes that she's right, the only way to protect her is to train her and have her go through this pain, Hippolyta then says to Antiope, you will train her 5 times harder. You will train her 10 times harder until she's even better than you. And at that time, Antiope was the best warrior on the island. And I think the same goes for us. When we have big dreams and big goals, God goes, I'm going to train you 5 times harder. I'm going to train you 10 times harder. And that is the point that I'm getting at right now, is that these trials are not sent to us to break us down. They are sent to us to break us down, to make us stronger, like building a muscle. And I think there's such opportunity with the way we see things, with our perspective, if we can shift it that way and go, I'm going to train 5 times harder. I'm going to train 10 times harder, which means the lessons that I'm going to incur are going to be very challenging. But the person that I'm going to emerge as on the other side is going to be a completely refined, renewed version. And that person is going to be ready to take on bigger, better, more amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we grow, our trials, maybe like Sam mentioned, maybe the numbers get bigger in the bills, or the stakes get higher if we're not talking about money, but the people that we become bigger and more capable of facing those challenges.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I think like you said, we harken back to last summer because that was the most recent iteration of the roller coaster hitting the bottom, but that's not the first time. Like we've been
that
through
was just
that.
The biggest.
We've been through that numerous times, and it never felt small because
it always
that
felt
was
enormous.
where we were in that moment. But as time goes on, the challenges get bigger, and the more you want to grow, like you said, the bigger the challenges become, and they have progressed that direction. But I think that the key to it, or one of the keys, is in the gratitude, because last summer, we bucked up, we did what we had to do. We were thankful, but my gosh,
Every single day.
It was running on adrenaline.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I think now, to keep to the thread of the conversation, gratitude in the moment is kind of like the salve on the burn.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting burned by these little things day in, day out. But if you look at them, you give thanks, you're grateful for them, it's like putting a salve on that burn. So now you can move forward and it's not holding you back.
Love it. All right. What do we close with, sir?
Okay. So the question / challenge for today is, the next time something goes sideways that would normally send you spiraling, we challenge you to give thanks in that moment for the bigger picture, the blessings in your life, and the knowing that everything is working in your favor.
It's happening for you, not to you. It's happening for us, not to us.
Yep.
Amen and amen. All right.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Freq Show. We hope that this has elevated the frequency you're living on today. And if you want further elevation, definitely check out the Freq app. You can find it at thefreqapp.com or download it in the Android App Store or the Apple App Store and enjoy our beautiful calibrations. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening to The Freq Show with Sam Thurmond and me, Jaclyn Steele Thurmond. We would love to connect with you via our website, beckonliving.com, and on social media.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Beck and Living, and you can join our email list to receive uplifting messages, podcast and business updates, and discounts on high-frequency products just for our freaky community.
Cheers to high-frequency living.